Thanks, Susan. You already stole my thunder because I was going to, in my unprepared remarks, mention that there's so many people here that we're bringing extra chairs in for those who are watching from home in their offices or later in their homes they understand what they've missed out on. This is literally standing room only. So anyway, it's wonderful to be together with you here in person and online. And I'm happy to report that the City Bar had an extraordinary year and arguably is more important to the legal profession and community than ever. Now, I'm not one for bragging, but people want to hear what we think on issues that matter. Major periodicals cite our work. Policymakers take notice of our reports, and more people than ever continue to want to have a seat at our table. During Susan Coleman's term as president, we have finally arrived at a certain post-pandemic equilibrium in terms of our online and in-person programs, events, and committee meetings. Now, I'm also what you might call a people person, so I lean toward in-person connections. While there is a time and a place for virtual connection, we work in a profession built on trust and relationships. The City Bar and this building still provide the preeminent home for our members to build and foster ties. And so now, when we do meet here at the City Bar, the once routine feels special. We appreciate what we used to take for granted. Over the past year, so many have had the experience of coming together as members of a community, seeing an old friend for the first time in a long time, and being able to shake hands or hug. Just one recent example was when New York State Chief Judge Rowan Wilson stood right where I am and commented on how good it was to be back here when he joined us a couple of weeks ago for the McDonald Awards for Family Court Attorneys. Earlier this year, Southern District of New York Judge Laura Taylor Swain sat right where you're sitting and was celebrated in the 12th Night Show in a packed meeting hall. And then she sang back to the audience. And last fall, we hosted Justice Sonia Sotomayor for an in-person unveiling of the beautiful portrait of Judge Debbie Batts that hangs right behind you. We've actually had a problem with some events running late at night, past the scheduled building closing, because people are enjoying networking or catching up and are lingering. A good problem to have for sure. So as many other companies and organizations have given up or shrunk their physical space, I think of this building more of as an asset than ever, because people still want and need to meet in person. There's no better place for people in the legal profession to meet than here. Arguably, those most in need of meeting in person are junior attorneys, many of whom have joined the profession around the time of the pandemic, some even starting their jobs remotely. For them, this space offers a networking and educational lifeline to becoming full-fledged participants in the profession. We've seen, as you heard, an increase in law students and recent law graduates joining the City Bar. These new lawyers are engaged with our committees and look to the City Bar as a place to help with professional growth and fulfillment, just as our members have done for the past 154 years. Of course, this bodes well for the future of the association and of the profession. We have also changed with the times, offering more virtual programs and remote committee meetings to accommodate members who cannot attend in person, or for those times when it's just more effective to gather virtually for maximum attendance and participation. Our flexibility, I believe, will grow our membership and is vital to maintaining connection to members. We've also updated our website to allow easier navigation and searching for members and the public. A similar calculation governs how we now approach our programs and CLEs. Some of our most popular CLEs are one-hour virtual programs that people can do over lunch. We believe there will be a growing demand for top quality CLE that can be consumed on an on-the-go process, like a podcast. On the other hand, some programs like our annual institutes, as you heard, are as much networking events as anything else. And we believe they can only be successful in person. Our White Collar Crime Institute is a prime example. Over time, it's become the place for practitioners to gain knowledge and CLE credit, and to mingle with leaders in their practices. It's become a form of government officials to make important announcements, that is, to make news. Because reporters have learned that over time, it's a place where news can happen, and where they might be able to talk off the record with newsmakers, so they mark it on their calendar. Last year, we had almost 24 reporters register, including from the New York Times, the Washington Post, and no less than 5 from the Wall Street Journal. This year's White Collar Crime Institute is this week, and you can still register. Because institutes seem to be what our members and others want in person, they're becoming a big focus, as you heard. In 2023, we put on 9 institutes, and this year we're doing 16, launching some exciting and cutting-edge new ones like artificial intelligence on June 10th and cannabis on June 24th. The City Bar is a dynamic organization that is changing with the times. This creates fantastic opportunities for law firms and vendors to sponsor these events, support the city bar, and be able to get great exposure and networking opportunities. In addition to catalyzing changes to the way we utilize the Bar Association facilities and work, the pandemic also led to an increased focus on mental health and well-being, and therefore on the work of the City Bar's Lawyer Assistance Program, LAP, which this year celebrates its 25th anniversary. This transformation in how the legal profession thinks about the issues of substance use and mental health issues over the past quarter centuries is remarkable. Around the turn of the century, you didn't hear legal circles talking about wellness and work-life balance. But that began to change around the same time City Bar President Michael Cooper spurred the creation of the lab in 1999, and a social worker named Eileen Travis was hired to run it. Eileen is still running it today and has never been more busy assisting lawyers and their families who are facing mental health issues and addiction. And affirming the importance of the lab program and the work of the lab committee, the Honorable Diane Renwick, Presiding Justice of the First Department's Appellate Division, gave moving keynote remarks at last week's in-person 25th anniversary celebration. The legal profession owes Eileen Travis a great thanks for her tireless work in reducing the stigma around mental health and substance use issues, and for the profound effect she has had in transforming the culture in the legal profession for the better. I don't believe Eileen's here, but the lab chair, Eileen Priscilla London, is here, and I want to acknowledge her presence, so thank you. I also want to take a moment to recognize two former City Bar presidents that have joined us. Michael Cardoza is here, and Deborah Raskin. I don't think I've missed any others, but thank you both for coming. I appreciate your being here. You also helped demonstrate that there's life after the presidency, so thank you for that. Now, on other fronts, the City Bar continues to be a leader in pro bono services and international justice policy. Committed to ensuring access to justice, the City Bar Justice Center is back to pre-pandemic levels of pro bono service provided through various programs, including the legal clinic at the Eastern District of New York Courthouse, and is expanding services to include a legal clinic for pro se litigants at the Southern District of New York. The Justice Center will also be rebooting our Monday Night Law program, which has been on hiatus since the pandemic. Now, this program is a personal favorite of mine, especially as a former in-house attorney looking to help individuals directly with a manageable commitment. On the international front, the Cyrus R. Vance Center for International Justice is strengthening the City Bar's longstanding and ongoing connection with the United Nations, providing key research for the UN Environment Programme's flagship global report on the environmental rule of law. Just last week, the Vance Center was named one of the 30 finalists in the World Justice Project's World Institute Challenge for its prolific work in supporting the rule of law in Latin America. Now, if you read our weekly e-news that goes out every Monday, and you should, because it presents a good snapshot of what the City Bar is doing and focusing on at any given time, you see a regular section called the City Bar Speaks. Now, that's when we summarize committee reports and statements. And when the City Bar speaks, it's through our members. So it's our members that literally give the City Bar its voice. And because when we speak, we are speaking in the public interest. It is critically important to say that what we say reflects the interest of the whole community. And that's why I'm pleased to report the number of attorneys from traditionally underrepresented groups chairing our committees has continued to increase substantially, now representing a third of our committees. Equally important is that our board of directors reflect the diverse public profession we are and the community we seek to serve. And if the election goes as expected, minutes from now, our 26 board members should be 13 female, 13 male, and 60%, 15 of the 26 are from historically underrepresented groups. Our Office for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging, or ODEB for short, is a thought leader in this evolving area. Its Building Belongings podcast is a must listen, and the ODEB team has been contributing some very valuable best practices to help enable City Bar committees and staff to have some very difficult conversations over the past several months. I'm thinking specifically of the hot speech program that was in response to the extremely charged rhetoric that emerged with the onset of the Israel-Hamas war. Among the many things we will remember about Susan's tenure was her leadership, along with the ODEB team and others, in convening representatives of our relevant committees to talk about how to have civil, inclusive, and respectful conversations on this and other volatile topics. For convening of that hot speech gathering, one thing we all agreed on, that this was a category of meeting that could only take place effectively in person. Another reason to be thankful for this special space, which is, in a frenetic world, projects a stability that has spanned historical eras and exudes the kind of calm, sanctuary-like atmosphere ideal for even the most difficult conversations. So this hybrid new normal, this remarkable building is ideal for networking and for tackling the thorniest topics of the day. And if you're one of our many members who is a solo practitioner who gave up your office during the pandemic, one flight up on the third floor is our brand new co-working space where you can reserve online an office, a private office, or a conference room with all the amenities for half day, full day, or longer. One last program I'd like to highlight today is our legal referral service. If you get a call from a colleague looking for the name of an attorney that practices an area you don't have a personal referral for, I want you to think about sending them to the City Bar's legal referral service. Labor and employment, tort claims, landlord-tenant, whatever the topic. We have a panel of vetted attorneys who can take cases. This past year, we handled 60,000 requests, referring 28,000 inquiries and helping another 32,000 members of the public with other resources. And LRS's content strategy of posting original legal topic articles on its website and optimizing them for search has greatly increased awareness of the service. Just the other day, Yahoo News linked to LRS's Living Trust page in an article covering a certain criminal defendant's hush money trial. I'd now like to turn to remembrances. This past year, 2 City Bar presidents passed away, Leo Malonis and Bob Kaufman. These individuals did much for the legal profession, so much of it for and through the City Bar. Among many things, Leo will be remembered for his leadership as Chief Administrative Judge in New York and his commitment to judicial independence. Bob will be remembered in part for his immense love for the House of the Association, as it has been known over the years, in addition to his commitment to many charitable causes, including immigration and asylum rights. Every time there was a new president, Bob would lead a tour of the House of the Association, as I said, how it was called, from the basement to the roof, and included crawling under the HVAC equipment above the library to see the beautiful historical architecture. I remember fondly the first tour he gave me when I started this job. My remarks would not be complete if I not recognize our incredible staff. John Crowley is the new head of facilities, and this building, everything behind the scenes in this association, your association, could not run without every single person who works here and is committed to this organization and its members. I appreciate them more than I can express. I'd like to ask all the City Bar and City Bar Fund staff members to please rise and be recognized. Did anyone not stand up? Because they're going to make the list. There's one staffer I need to mention by name tonight. Maria Salenti. Our policy counsel, senior policy counsel, is leaving to move to the next phase of her professional life after 16 years here. She's been a trusted confidant and has helped many committees in innumerable ways, from advising on reports. Who had the bingo card for how quickly this would happen? Interactions with Albany and more. Thank you, Maria, for your tremendous contributions and friendship. We will miss you and wish you the very best in your next phase of your career. I also want to thank our outstanding board members and President Susan Coleman, who've served us well. 2 years ago, she promised that we would do great things, and we have, because she always says yes, and always asks, what can she be doing? I'm not going to say more because you'll hear from Susan directly in a moment. Susan, it has been my pleasure to work with you, almost daily. I would say Jenner and Block must be happy to have you back, but you don't sleep, and I'm not sure they know you've been doing the 2 jobs for the past 2 years. Finally, I want to welcome Mohammed Faridi. We're so fortunate to have you as incoming president. Patterson Belknap has always been such a supporter of the City Bar, and your history of involvement with this organization goes back literally decades. I know personally from working with you that over the years you've been wonderful to work with. We know you will continue our tradition of exceptional bar leadership. Thank you.